Find out about real people solving problems and how a new generation is driving change. Red, white, and you. Get the full stories exclusively on the NBC News app for Amazon Fire TV and Echo.
And as Jennifer Lawless from American University, let's dig into Ohio really quickly. Ohio has a high proportion of white voters without a college degree. Job losses are a concern. Obviously, that helps Donald Trump.
That does. That's Donald Trump's key demographic group. And so the extent to which those people turn out to vote this time around are a good indicator of how well he'll do in Ohio. Also this evening, we're certainly watching some of the Senate races that are important. I want to mention Florida. Marco Rubio, it seems, keeps his seat. He did keep his seat, and the irony here, of course, is that when Donald Trump won the Florida primary, that was when Marco Rubio got out of the race. And tonight, it's clear that Florida voters want Marco Rubio, and they're not yet decided on Donald Trump. And another one that a lot of people are watching around the country, the state of Illinois, it looks like the land of Lincoln, delivers a win for Democratic Representative Tammy Duckworth. Right, so this is a Democratic pickup. It's also a pickup in terms of the number of women serving in the Senate, and it marks a pretty substantial incumbent defeat. I was just about to say, I realize that people all around the country are watching, so sometimes they don't know the ins and outs of some of the particular races. But what should the takeaway be so far with these two Senate races? So far, neither is a surprise. Okay. So I think we're sort of exactly where we would expect to be at this point in the evening. And if we push back just for a second and we look at the big picture, your impression so far of this race, what would you say? Again, no surprises yet. Once we start hearing about outcomes in North Carolina, Virginia, Florida, Ohio, New Hampshire, I think we'll have a little bit more of an idea of where the night's going. You use the word yet. Does that mean you think we'll see some surprises? We'll see. We'll see. I hope so. You can never predict. That is one thing. Jennifer Lawless, thank you so much. Coming up in the next half hour, polls close in the Razorback State, Arkansas. That would bring us to the halfway point, with polls still open in 25 states. Stay with NBC News for all of your latest election results. And now back to Lester Holt in New York for continuing coverage of Decision Night in America.
Now with more of our coverage. Polls have closed in another state, and we have another call to make, and this is control of the House of Representatives. NBC News projects that Republicans will retain control of the House of Representatives. Now let's quickly take you outside where we've got a call from the state of Arkansas. And as we move up the building, NBC News projects that Donald Trump will win in the state of Arkansas. Of course, the state that Hillary Clinton was for many, many years the first lady. We're back with our panel right now, and Chuck, you're going over your
I am. Here. Nicole and I. Look, can I interrupt just a moment? PTSD. Well, first of all, that's right. Don't forget, she worked in Florida before she worked for President Bush. That's right. You know, back in the day when we were both young bucks, we were just both sitting there. What's out in Florida? 91% in. I think Trump's leading by about 60,000 votes, and we're both noting, like, why is the Clinton campaign feeling good and the Trump campaigning not so good? It's because of what's remaining, what's out. And we were just looking. I mean, Gainesville still hasn't come in. That's a college town. You still got a lot, almost half of the Broward vote hasn't come in.
Palm Beach.
Half of Palm Beach, and still about 15% of Miami-Dade. And as we showed you, she's winning Miami-Dade by numbers that are landslide-like for Miami-Dade.
And why do we care so much about Florida? Because for Trump, it's as close to a must-win as there is. It's not that he can't put together 270 votes without Florida, but it becomes exceedingly difficult.
For me, it's deja vu.
Look at Tom. He's going, I can't believe they're talking about.
You've seen this movie.
Florida. I mean, at one point I had Bill Daley in one ear and I had Karl Rove in the other ear on the phone saying, what's going on? I said, if you don't know, how do I know?
Back in 2000.
Florida. I mean, the late Tim Russert, we miss a night like this.
We could be. But the bigger story is both bases came out. You know, the fact is everything came out, It just may be she has a bigger base.
And just a record keep now, Ohio is too close to call, Florida too close to call, Pennsylvania too early to call. So those are big ones hanging out there right now. We want to go to Andrea Mitchell. She's at Hillary Clinton headquarters here in New York. Are they feeding into any of this? Are they watching these numbers the way we are?
Oh, you can imagine how much they are watching it, their boiler room, their war room, looking at it. And over at the Peninsula Hotel, only a few blocks from here, both Clintons have now weighed in on the speech that they hope they'll be delivering. Two versions, as we said. One is a victory speech. And so the speechwriters were in the hotel with both Bill and Hillary Clinton. Imagine having both of those principals editing your speech, and now the speechwriters are going back to work, making some changes. So we've all been edited by our editors and producers, but that's a pretty high-powered team of Bill and Hillary Clinton editing. The other thing to report is that my Democratic sources, this is not campaign sources, these are Democratic Party sources in Michigan telling me they're getting a little nervous in Michigan because the Democratic areas of Detroit and Flint are not showing the kind of vote that they had wanted to see. It's obviously early, but it's raining. They're a little worried about this. Michigan could be very tight. As you know, both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump were there only yesterday, and it would be far more important for Donald Trump's path. He really wants to flip a blue state, not critical for Clinton, but they would still like to win Michigan. They lost it, as you know, in a surprising upset by Bernie Sanders. The trade issue is a big factor there against Clinton and for Trump. Lester?
All right, Andrea, thanks very much. Joining us now from Clinton headquarters is former Michigan Governor Jennifer Granholm. Governor, good to have you on. Thanks so much.
So great to be on. Thanks so much.
I watched you on MSNBC earlier today, and you couldn't wipe the smile off your face.
I know! It's democracy!
Give me the
really...
But that was earlier. Now that you're starting to see some raw vote totals come in and watching what we're watching in Florida, how is your level and the campaign's level of confidence right now?
I think we feel really good because, as Chuck was saying, there are still a huge sectors of the electorate that have not come in, and a lot of that are our people, whether it's Broward County or, in Michigan. As you know, in many of these states that we count on, a lot of the urban areas come in later than the rural areas, and so we are feeling really good still.
All right. We've talked about Florida being a must-win. That's according to the Trump folks. But without it, he made you defend Pennsylvania. Look where the Clinton campaign ended yesterday. How do you feel about Pennsylvania?
Good about Pennsylvania. In fact, we think between Pennsylvania and Virginia and North Carolina, I think, again, it's still early. You got to see the rest come in, but we're feeling really good about the ground game that we have mustered, what we're hearing on the ground anecdotally and what we're seeing in the numbers. We know what's out there. So everybody on my side, take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. And by the way, can we not all just celebrate that it's record turnout in democracy? People really love this country and care about it.
But come on, something's got to be making you nervous right now. What is it?
Well, Michigan always makes me nervous because that's my state. And I am concerned about the numbers in Detroit and Flint, but I do know that a lot of that is made up for by the very large, for example, Arab American community that's in Michigan, in Dearborn. We know that President Clinton actually visited, and there's huge turnout in that community. So if there is a diminution in votes in Detroit,